Comfrey has been used as a medicinal herb for over 2,000 years. Commonly known as knitbone, comfrey has powerful wound healing properties. Comfrey is a fast-growing plant and produces large amounts of leaf during the growing season. Both the leaves and root can be used externally, most commonly in the form of a poultice. The main healing element in comfrey is the small organic molecule Allantoin, which greatly speeds up tissue growth. It is known as one of the best cell proliferants in the herb kingdom. It has been used to heal cuts, abrasions, burns, ulcerations, bruises, and many other skin, muscle, ligament, and bone conditions. The high mucilage content of comfrey moisturizes and soothes the skin, while the allantoin helps regeneration.
Comfrey can be used for any sort of bruising. If you fall off the bike and get a bruise or a sprained ankle, it's very good for bad sprain of any sort. Broken bones, fractures, swellings, that sort of thing. It's very good for all of that. It'll take out the bruising, the colour of the bruising, which is really blood leaking under the skin, and it will also take down swelling, and it will also knit those bones together so that they're strong again. So this is the comfrey plant. It grows most places all over Australia. It's got a very furry leaf. Once you have comfrey, you'll never be without it. You can mow over it and it'll grow back again. The roots are very prolific. It does die back a little bit in winter, and you can see in this plant it's starting to not look quite so healthy. In the summertime and the springtime is when it's most prolific and growing and looking really healthy and lush. So this is the plan. To get a plant, usually we just will chop a piece of root off and share the plant because it grows so easily. We're going to imagine today that Eva has fallen off a horse and broken her arm. She's already had it set and it's out of its cast, and we're going to do a Comfrey Poultice on it in order to make sure that healing is complete. So what we're going to do, we've been to the garden and we picked our comfrey. Our comfrey's looking a little eaten because it's not a good season for comfrey, but it doesn't really matter what condition it's in. We're going to just take, depending on what size we want our poultice to be, is how many leaves we need for it. If I had a food processor, I would just tear them apart and put them straight into my food processor, but today we're going to show you how to do it without a food processor. We're going to just tear it up with our hands. You can chop it if you want to, but just tearing it's fine. Comfrey has quite a bit of juice in it, so we put it in a sealed bag so that we don't lose any of the juices all over our table. And today we've just gotten some flannels here to hit it. So what we want to do is pulverize the comfrey, and we're going to be using a rolling pin. If you have a meat tenderizer, which is like a metal mallet, you could use that, or even a mallet out of the shed would be fine. What we want to do is just pulverize it, make it into like a pulp, so the juices come out. You can see that it's starting to mush, and the juice is starting to come out. We're going to keep hitting it for a bit longer and get more of that juice to come out of it. Just going to push it all down into a pile again. Okay, so I've put it into a smaller area. Get the air out, because the less it can escape, the more I can hit it. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now it's quite fibrous, it's quite moist inside the bag, so it's about ready to use as a poultice. If you happen to have a hospital bluey, which are the little blue covers they put on hospital beds, they're really good for poultices. We're going to show you what to do if you don't have a poultice, or a bluey today, sorry. Just take the pulp out of the bag. See, the juice even comes up between my fingers. That's what we want. And we'll shape it into about the shape or the size that we want it to be. And we'll put that onto the arm. Let's say she's broken her arm here. We're going to put that on. I'm just going to get Eva to put her hand just on top of that to hold it there while I get some Glad wrap. The Glad wrap is simply to stop the bandage from getting stained by the Comfrey. I've made that piece way too big. I'll just fold it in half, wrap that around her arm like that. Then we'll use a normal stretch bandage to just put it around that, and that will hold it firmly in place. We want it to be firm because we want Eva to be able to continue doing whatever she needs to do today. So we don't want the poultice slipping down her arm or up her arm, so we're going to wrap not just on top of it, but down below it a little bit and up above it a little bit. And that's it. That's that poultice on there. Now we'll leave that on. Usually a poultice, I would recommend putting a poultice on as an overnight type of treatment so that it's not in the way for the duties of the day. Our little bandage clip seems to have gone missing, so I'll just tuck that under. Just going to tuck that under there securely, and that's our poultice. Best to leave it on overnight if you do an overnight, but 4 or 5 hours is good for that poultice. And what that will do, Comfrey used to be called bone knit. That's one of its common names, and that's what it does well, is it knits bones together, and it also takes out any bruising and swelling that may be around the wound. So we'll expect Eva's arm to not have bruising when we take it off, or reduce bruising, reduce swelling, and we can't see what's happening to the bone, but we expect that God will be blessing that as well, and that will be healing and becoming stronger. Eva's telling me that her poultice feels a little bit scratchy or rough. That's because the Comfrey has got a very rough leaf and a lot of hairs on it that are quite rough. It's quite normal for it to feel that way. If you had blended in a food processor, it would be much less that way. Because we've only pounded it, there's a lot more roughness there. One way to not have that roughness is to put a piece of thin cotton underneath the poultice, or a paper towel, or to use the bluey as I suggested at the very beginning, using the very outer layer between your skin and the poultice, so the poultice is not sitting on the skin directly, and that should solve that problem.